Two, and we're live. Good evening, Facebook. Welcome to the Layover Podcast. This evening, I am interviewing Miss Lady T, otherwise known as Twan Richardson from Charleston, South Carolina. As you join us, please comment. Let us know where you're joining and tuning in from. Throw some hearts so I know that you're able to hear us. Twan, I'm also going to look at just make sure that we are live on the page. Twan, you able to see us?
I am going to that page now.
Okay. So Facebook, as you see, our message for tonight, and we're also streaming Facebook and YouTube this evening. Our topic for tonight is, excuse me, extra baggage. And so on, without any further ado, go ahead and let the listeners know who you are. Who is Twan Richardson? Tell us about yourself.
So I am, as you said, Twan Richardson. Some people know me as Lady T. I am basically a servant. I'm a person who has a heart for people, who wants to see everyone reach that level of success they strive for. So I work for a local school district in career and technology, which is the department that actually helps students graduate with some type of certification, because we understand that everyone is not college bound. So we have partnerships with Trident Technical College, ECPI, and a few others here in the Charleston area, as well as the Dorchester Career School for people looking at engineering, cosmetology, things like that. I also am on COVID for furlough, on air radio personality for Heaven 100.1. We have not been on air since March of last year, of course, because of COVID. And I also have a partnership with a young man by the name of Troy McLean. The business is entitled Channel Consulting Firm LLC. And we help create experiences that empower, impact, and motivate people to be their best selves. So I wear a lot of hats, and I love every single one of them that I have the opportunity to wear.
So while you're on your assignment of motivating people, do people come with extra baggage?
Oh gosh. So when you sent me the topics and I saw extra baggage, I thought about myself, of course, because I have a habit of packing more than I need when I go on trips. So it just resonated with me, because from a personal standpoint, that's something I always tend to do. But then from a spiritual element, I was like, we carry around so much extra baggage, and it's not baggage that we necessarily were given. It's baggage that we take on ourselves, right? And the topic, or the little passage that resonated with me was, we always say that God will not put more on us than we can bear, and He won't. But but we put more on ourselves, because we want to be everything to everybody. We have our children who have issues. We have our family members who have issues. We have our girlfriends who have issues, and we want to be the saving grace, right? We want to help them. So sometimes we take on that weight, because we want to release them from what they're going through. But in turn, what we do is we take on the mental anguish of it. We take on the emotional, baggage of it, and we carry around that baggage, therefore creating extra baggage in our lives personally. So yeah, that definitely did hit home for me when I saw it.
So that definitely hit home. And I think even as women, if we want to be a little bit, gender specific, we definitely, I think, carry more baggage than men do.
Yeah.
Because of our hearts, and because we always want to help people, and we always want to be the one that's, holding the next person, coming from a mother's perspective. Yeah. And sometimes everything is not for us to carry. Some things are not for us.
Yeah.
So that extra baggage definitely is a good topic for this evening. You being the motivator that you are, you working in the areas that you work in, you definitely understand that extra baggage is something that we have to let go at some point.
It is, and it weighs us down, and sometimes we wonder why, we can't operate in, that optimal level that we always want to. Not realizing that it's because we are weighted down. We're weighted down with things that we cannot see. A lot of times, when we carry extra baggage, and I'm talking from a physical standpoint, it costs us more money to take extra baggage on a trip, right? That's that $25 fee you're going to pay to that airline because you want to carry more than what they allow you to carry. So what am I saying? I'm saying that, the cost sometimes for us is, not being in place or position because we have this extra baggage. So God has ordered our steps. We understand that our journey has already been mapped out for us. He's already told us who we are and what our purpose is. But there are times that we lose sight of that because of all of the other things that come at us that we now take on ourselves. So, the extra baggage costs. It can cost some people their life. And extra baggage is a decision. It's a choice that we personally make. And it's not, and I can speak very candidly. I am so guilty of that on so many different occasions, of just being weighted down and putting myself on the back burner because I want to be available to everyone else. I want to be, that person that you can call on to talk to. I want to be the person that encourages you to be your best self and go out there and obtain all your dreams, and then trying to help everybody obtain those dreams. That's more weight that you take on because they'll call and say, well, this is something I want to do, and you say, okay, well, let me help you with that. What does that do for you? That's another, that's another piece of clothing that you've taken on that, until you release that or until you unpack that, you're still carrying. So, it's summer and I'm wearing a turtleneck. I'm wearing some thermals. I'm wearing a t-shirt, a jacket, a coat, and a hat. And it's 80 degrees outside, right? So what is that doing for me? It's not healthy. It's not healthy for me, right? Because my body's not able to breathe. I'm sweating profusely, and that are variables of what we decide to take on ourselves. So extra baggage is something that we do readily, not even recognizing or realizing that we're doing it. We're carrying that.
So it's safe to say, even with you saying the turtleneck, the long johns, the hat, that extra baggage can cause a burnout.
Oh yeah. Oh, so there's mental anguish that happens. There's those restless nights that you have. There's that anxiety that, you know, shows up out of nowhere. There's that overindulgence because, we got to figure out how to manage all of this extra baggage. So some of us, we hit the refrigerator. Some of us, we hit the bottle. Some of us hit the drug, there we need an out, not realizing that the reason we are feeling the way we do is because we've put on and taken on more than we should have. Now, please understand, God will always give you a way of escape. And I love him because he's graceful and he's merciful. And even when we take on this extra weight and this extra baggage, he still gives us opportunity to let it go. But sometimes because of who we are, we choose to hold on to it. It becomes comfortable.
Very comfortable because we've become accustomed to wearing it.
Yeah.
Um, and even with you saying that, God will find a way to give us an escape to it. This morning I posted John 15:2,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes into the saying of him saying, um, about us bearing fruit. He's going to cut off the areas that we're not bearing fruit in, and and he'll prune the areas that we need to bear more fruit. But when you're carrying that extra baggage, if you are not letting go of the things that no longer serves you, how can you excel in the areas that you need to?
Yeah.
You're now bringing things into this new season that don't even belong to that season. Let's go back a little bit where you even talked about the packing. I'm guilty, especially on travel, where I'm packing my suitcase and I'm saying it. Well, I don't know where I might go, so let me add this. Let me add this. You're adding on the extra baggage,
Yeah.
but you can't stop. It's because you're always planning for the unseens, or what might happen. What if you just let God do what he's supposed to do?
Yeah. And that's the faith walk that we all, when it's all said and done, struggle with at times. Operating in the truth of the matter, because as as strong as God has created us, to be, as many tools as we have in our toolbox. And I always make reference to that. Everything that you need is in your toolbox. God has already given you every tool that you need to be effective and build and develop and grow in whatever areas it is He's allotted you or He's ordained for you to do. But we in turn, we want to help help build other people without creating our own firm foundation. So what does that do for us? It has us, one, all over the place. It has us, two, as you say, not able to purge or prune those areas that we need more growth in. So what is that? That stunts us from growing in areas that we need to grow, because again, we're putting it all on ourselves when we have a God who can carry all of the weight. Right? We don't have to carry any weight. We don't have to take on any extra baggage. It's the nature of who we are as a physical being. Our spirit tells us, girl, that you need to let that thing go. Like, it's clear. We hear that still small voice saying, okay, this is what happened. But our physical part, our physical existence, because, we have egos and we have pride and these things that, we can do it. We can do it. Now we know God can do all things. We can do all things through Christ Jesus who loves us. But we take that part out and we now want to manage and handle it. And it just creates another layer of us to carry, another layer that has been put on us, not because of, what God has ordained, but because what we want or what we desire.
Our desires, that
Yeah.
free will.
Yeah. Our desires. And it's just real that, as a mother, as you said, we want our kids, we have this idea of who our kids are supposed to be and how they're supposed to live. And, we have, you know, this whole perception of what their life should be. And when it doesn't go that way, and they veer off into another path or they do something that we don't necessarily expect, we take on the weight of, wait a minute, what didn't I do? How could I have fixed this? What signs did I not see? So that's another layer that we're adding, but we end up where we are because of the choices that we make. God gives us free will. So even for me, from a personal standpoint, like, I'm really having to learn how to let go of the extra baggage. And it has been difficult doing that, right? It's been challenging doing that because we want what we want for the people that we love and we want to make it happen for them no matter what it costs, right? So um when you when you said that list, it hit home because it made me look at myself in this season that I'm in right now and understand that you got to let that go. Like, I have all of this waiting for you, but you put everything that the momentum was going in the direction because you now want to take on this extra situation and try to fix it yourself. It got to the point where I was like, okay, we're canceling everything, we're done. Like, literally, like, put everything on pause. But what does that do for the person that I love? What does that do for the people who I'm trying to empower, impact, and motivate? What does that do for me? What does that do for me? Right? So now I am slowly unpacking those extra layers that I have put on myself, so that I can now be light and free to operate and move in what it is that I know God has placed in front of me to do. So, extra baggage can be detrimental to your purpose if you don't recognize that it is extra baggage and you start doing something about it.
So you're saying, so at this moment, as we're talking about the extra baggage, this is your conviction and also your confirmation that you too have extra baggage that you need to let go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's real truth, and real transparency. Uh, I believe that, you know, in order for us to really help people, we got to be real about who we are, what we're dealing with, and how we're dealing with it. I was not doing well. I was not doing well, but I'm better. Every day I get stronger. Why? Because I got to let that go. I got to let that go. I can't do anything about that. Lord, I'm putting that in your hands. God, I'm praying for this. And as I continue to now depend more on Him, right, for understanding the revelation, those things are manifesting themselves, but I'm also getting better emotionally. And now my mind is not as, inundated with questions about why, who, where, how. And it's really helping me chart a continue on the path that He's ordained. I veered off because of a situation in which I wanted to be the person to take on the weight and carry that baggage, but I can't, because I'm not the person that, I'm gonna make reference to the footprints in the sand. I'm not the person who's carrying myself in that sand when I can't carry myself. It is God. So if that's who's carrying me, then I have to trust Him to carry every other person that is going through something, because I cannot carry them and myself all at once. And
So very
that
true.
be effective.
Be effective.
Be effective. Yeah.
So going through what you're going through now and leaving the extra baggage behind because you want to be as effective as you need to be,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the events that you have coming up.
Yeah.
What advice would you personally give someone that is holding on to extra baggage?
Identify it and be truthful about it. We wear a lot of hats and we can put on a lot of different faces. We can be broke down 1 second, have an event in 30 minutes, put our face on and go and execute. But is that being true to the people that you really are wanting to impact? So what my suggestion to them would be, as it is to myself, is really like dig deep, and get to the root of why you feel like you have to be that person. Why do you feel like you have to be the person to rescue everybody else? Why do you feel like you have to take on, and why don't you just trust God in the process? So, we talk about that part. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your all understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him and He will direct your path. But how difficult is that really to do? From a human standpoint, from a spiritual position, it's simple. It's simple. But we have these two entities that are warring with each other. We have our physical body and we have our spiritual body. And one of them wants to be in charge at all times. So it's just a matter of you subjecting to the one that is best suited for you. So identifying that you have extra baggage, one, like being truthful with yourself. And once you get to that place, everything else becomes a little bit easier. Because once you're true to you, once you look in the mirror at yourself and you see you, and you're truthful with the fact that I have taken on more than I should, and then identifying what those things are. And you can't do it all at once because you'll be overwhelmed. But one thing at a time, and really saying, Lord, I'm giving this back to you. I cannot do it on my own. It has caused me to lose sleep. It has caused me to be anxious. It has caused me to not fulfill purpose on any given moment at any given day. So with that being said, I give it back to you and leave it there. And leave it there. And everything else kind of works itself out.
So identify,
Yeah.
take it to the Lord,
Yeah.
and leave it.
Yeah. And leave it.
3 steps. I'll take all those steps.
We trust Him when we can't trace Him. We hear that all the time. Lord, I trust you when I can't trace you. Lord, I need to trace you. I need to trace you right now. And that's just real talk. We identify, we know ourselves better than anybody else. We know what we do. We know how we do it. And it's just acknowledging those things and really being strategic about how to follow through, so that you can become the person that God has created you to be, by not carrying all of the weight of the world on your shoulders, because we weren't created for that. That's one of the things you have to recognize as well. Like, we as women, we try to do everything for everyone. We do. We take care of the kids, the husband, make sure, the business, our jobs is good, our sisters are good, our brothers are good. And we just want to do everything for everyone. But what I'm finding is, when do you do something for you that really helps you to decompress and say, okay, now I'm in a good place? Meditation has really been instrumental in my life these last couple of weeks, more so than any other time in my life. Just, taking that time out for myself, just to clear my mind of all of those thoughts that race, all of those questions that just manifest. And so I've taken time to meditate. At one point, I was really involved in, working out, and the elliptical was my best friend, because that was my place of just serenity and release. I would get on that elliptical, and if I had a bad day, it got it. So getting back to that place where I'm also taking care of my body physically. So the spiritual element of life has got to be first and foremost. Taking care of yourself in a physical, from a physical standpoint, helps you continue to just be strong in those things. And then, of course, making sure that emotionally you're sound. And what does that mean for me? That means, if I need to cry, letting it out. If I need to, write just to get it off of me, I need to write. If I need to call a friend, phone a friend, text a friend, and just say, I just need your prayers. And just being real about where I am in that moment, and not trying to keep moving, because we do that. We just keep moving. We say, oh, the tear comes, oh, well, I'll deal with that later. But what does that do? It continues to build and build and build to the place where mental, breakdowns happen, emotional breakdowns happen. And so if you deal with your situation in that moment, it's easier for you to move on, to the next. But if you continue to let those moments build and build and build and build and build, um, it never ends well. It never ends well. So, you get that deflective moment where somebody says something to you, and you go straight left, because you haven't dealt with those moments that you have been, having throughout the course of your day. So yeah.
And all that compression also, creates a trigger point for you as well, because something that you have not dealt with, all of a sudden something hits you and it's like everything now explodes. It's like,
Yeah.
what happened? Where did
Yeah.
that come from?
Then you have to apologize, like, oh, I'm so sorry, it wasn't meant for you. And one of the things that I can honestly say is, you know um you just got to trust the process. um you may not like it, you may hate it, in the process of not taking on the extra baggage. So what does that mean? That means that the person that you want to protect, the person you want to cover, the person you want to fix it for, you got to trust that God's process for them, it's going to be okay. And whatever it is he's ordained for them, whatever it is that happens, whatever the manifestation is, you have to be okay with it, because it's not your process to go through, it's theirs. And so, that's another thing that I've learned in this journey here recently, is that, in order for me to be able to be who I need to be for the people that I need to be for, my granddaughter, for instance, having to be grandma for her, means that I have to be emotionally, mentally, and physically sound. Right. So, she's the angel. She's the innocent soul. But when grown folks make decisions, you got to trust that the process that God is allowing them to go through is going to be the process that He ordained for them, based on the choices and decisions that they made.
Exactly. And sometimes you can't come between that,
No.
Twan.
And we want to, like, we want to rescue and save, but you're right. There are a lot of times we cannot. We just trust the process.
Definitely. And even with trust in the process. So I know you mentioned we have to identify, we have to bring it to God. But another thing I just want to add to that is having a friend that you can be vulnerable with, having someone that you can actually talk to about the situation. Because you know that the more that you suppress the things, um, it's not healthy for you. So you have to have someone that you can talk to, that's able to, help you sometime unpack the thing that you want to hold on to so dearly. And I even bring that up because um, you had an event that I attended last month,
Mhm.
and was it last month? No, two. I think it was about 2 months ago at this point.
Yeah, that was. I think you came to the one in November. Yeah.
Yeah. And I met some powerful women, and we all have some likeness. We're in situations where prior to we probably had extra baggage, or we just needed someone that we can talk to, not so much to take on the baggage that we had, but to also give us the helping hand, or
Yeah.
to point out like, well, that's an extra piece of luggage right there that you don't need, because sometimes we don't see it, we've become so comfortable with it. So even with that, I just want to go into the next event that you're having, that people are that women are able to meet someone that can hold their hand through a process, or just become a sounding board, because a lot of us as strong women, we
Yeah.
don't have a sounding board because we're so used to being the one that's helping other individuals. So tell us a little bit about the event that you have going on as well.
Okay, I will. And to your point, um, you have to have a release. You have to have a release. I have two two people outside of my family that I can send a quick text, and I trust them with everything, right? And I know that when I share that information, they're gonna pray, and they're gonna war, and they're gonna send a word of encouragement, you know. And one in particular, I can have very candid conversations with, and I can be as raw and real as I need to be in that moment for that release to happen, because it's very important that we have that, as you said, sounding board, somebody who doesn't take it on, even though we want to sometimes, but says, okay, I'm here to listen. And when they see that you're carrying extra baggage, they will say, you need to let that go. Like, you need to let that go. And sometimes that is a hard thing to hear, because you don't want to do that. But having someone who is accountable to you from the standpoint of making sure that you are holistically whole, well, and whatever it is that you're contending with is a powerful thing. So, if you, we have God and we hear from him, but God also will send messages through those people that are closest to us, because they can deliver the message in a way that we may not like, but we will receive. So having someone that can let you know, yeah, you got some extra stuff, girl, you need to let that go and move on with it, and not be offended that they said it, because they're saying everything in love, is very important. So yes, the events, the experiences, as I call them, um on March 26th, we're taking Ladies Let's Ride Boss Beauty to Columbia, South Carolina, which is where you are. So we're really excited to come hang out with you. But Boss Beauty is an opportunity for women to come together and connect on a level that hopefully will help build their brand, their business, and change their life. So this one is going to be a nighttime edition, the nighttime edition, and it's going to culminate Women's History Month. So I'm really excited about that, because it'll give us an opportunity to come together at the end of this month, in which we're celebrating women from all facets. A lot of women right now are creating history in ways that we, couldn't fathom, and I love it. So I'm really excited about that, and the reason and the energy behind why we're coming together, because we're going to celebrate one another on another level. I'm excited about just taking it to another city. There's been high demand for us to do that, and we're going to execute that, and we just pray that everything goes well. But it's Boss Beauties Empowered, because that's where we are. We're women of empowerment, and we have some awesome things to bring to the table. Our gifts are definitely making room for us. Women are ruling, and not to discount our men, we love them. But when it comes to women, we at times have a hard time supporting and encouraging and motivating one another. So to see a movement in which women are really embracing one another and cheering for one another and empowering one another by imparting their wisdom and understanding about anything, about their subject matter or their area of business or whatever the case may be, has been a blessing to my soul. And I sit back and I watch the women interact at some of these events, and it's mind-blowing to me that God could create a space and allow us to come together in that magnitude. And every single one, I've gotten great feedback where women are like, oh my gosh, I met this person and they're helping me with this, and I met this person and they encouraged me in this. So that's the part of the why for me, is that we really create an opportunity for women to come together and empower, impact, and impart into one another. So Ladies Let's Ride is March 26th. We're actually taking a bus from Charleston to Columbia, and we're going to have dinner at the City Club there in Columbia. We have a few powerful women that are going to get up and present to us on that evening, and then we're going to just hang out and fellowship a little bit and have a little bit of fun. So I'm really, really excited about that. And then also on the 28th, my business partner did an event with some mentor and mentees, and they were young men and from the ages of 9 to 15, and then of course men, and we partnered them up, and it was just a beautiful sight to see. I got a chance to be in the room, and it was just powerful to see those young men, hear from the mentors, and just glean from them. Their faces were like lit up, and to hear get up and talk about some of the things that they're dealing with in school, and just have men really just support them and have them support one another was just amazing. So we've been wanting to do this for women and young girls, from the launch of Ladies Let's Ride, and now we are able to do so. So March 28th, we're going to have Ladies and Legacy luncheon. So the ladies, of course, will be talking to those young ladies who are now going to be the legacy that we help build, and we're going to have lunch for them, and it's going to be a really amazing time. So if anyone is interested in attending any of those, I would gladly welcome you. I'd love to have you as my guest, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen on those evenings, on those days. Yeah.
So March 26th, you're in Columbia, South Carolina for the Ladies Let's Ride Night Edition.
Yeah.
And on March 28th, you're back in Charleston.
Yeah.
The Ladies in Legacy, which will be the ladies and the young women. How old does or what's the age for the ladies?
For the young ladies, we're looking at 9 to 15. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna go ahead and do this plug. I need sponsors, because the whole idea is we don't want those women or those mothers or parents to have to worry about the cost. We just want them to bring their babies and put them in our care, so we can really talk about, for the young lady's body image, talk about self-esteem. I know at the young men's event, there was a young man that got up and talked about being bullied. So those are real subjects that we really want to hone in on, and give them some insight, some encouragement, and even some reference points, build some relationships, so that, when they don't want to talk to mama about what they have going on, this woman that they met on this bus and at this venue can be somebody that they can reach out to. Because a lot of times, we don't want to talk to mama about things we have going on, because mama might not understand. But if you have someone else you can reach out to and have candid conversations that you trust, it can really change the trajectory of a child's life. So that is the goal, is to establish some really solid relationships in which, we can continue to build on for future, purposes.
Okay. So if anyone is interested in attending either the event or sponsoring a young lady, or even getting their child to come to the event, how do they contact you?
So that you have my Facebook page there at Twan Richardson. They can inbox me. I don't have a problem giving my telephone number out, and I will share that. 843-532-9572. Again, 843-532-9572. I really am. I love the ladies event, but I'm really more so excited about this, because it's really about just that, creating this legacy. These young ladies need to know how amazing they are, how powerful they are, how much purpose they have. And sometimes, working in a school district, I see how parents, are working, and they have, a lot going on, trying to carry kids from, baseball practice, basketball practice, cheerleading practice, and then getting home, doing homework. So they don't always have that time set aside or designated, and we want to create that for them, especially for girls. There are a lot of mentor groups that I see for young men, a lot. And I'm not saying that there aren't a lot for women. Or young ladies, I'm not aware of them. Big shout out to Shakima Chapman, who does the Dream Sparkle Shine conference. I know she's created a culture for young women to come and have experience. But I really want to continue to build on just kind of that ideology, and create maybe smaller, intimate opportunities for that to happen as well on an ongoing basis.
Okay. So they'll reach out to you, Twan Richardson, on Facebook, and from there they can jump in your DMs, your message, and definitely you'll continue the conversation with them further on what needs to be done, or what they're needing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we could follow you on Facebook at Twan Richardson. Also, there's a private Facebook group called the Boss Beauties. So those are the two ways that we're able to contact you.
Yes.
Twan, I definitely want to say thank you for joining me on this evening and just giving us a moment of transparency about extra baggage and how to deal with extra baggage. And even how you plan on helping others as well. Create a legacy for the young girls that you're having at your event on March 28th. So definitely thank you so much for putting aside some time to meet with me and talk with me on this evening. So again, if you wanted to get in contact with Twan, please follow her on Facebook at Twan Richardson. And she does have a Facebook group with the Boss Beauties. And I'm going to tag you as well on this conversation, Twan.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate you inviting me. When you sent me the message, I was like, oh my gosh. And Karen, just it meeting you, and it just speaks to what I'm talking about. Like, I met you for the first time at that event in November, and we have like made a connection that has been powerful. And so it just goes to show, when you're in a place and you're open, to make those connections, you don't have to do the work. It just happens. So thank you for inviting me to be a part of your amazing podcast. I appreciate you so much. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks in Columbia.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be there.
I know.
I need some boss beauties at my table with me from Columbia, but I'll definitely be there. So let's see. So if you wanted to follow the podcast. It is at anchor.fm/KTL Lifestyle. Also, to stay connected with me, you can follow me on my website, which is KarenTLewis.com. I almost forgot the rest of it. So KarenTLewis.com. If you're watching the live, then you know that I'm here on Facebook at Karen T. Lewis, and on YouTube channel is also KTL Lifestyle. So thank you all for tuning in and joining us on this evening. We definitely appreciate you giving us some of your time. If you catch us on a replay, please #replay. Any questions you may have, go ahead and comment them as well. I do check this after the fact. And if you have anything for Lady T, I'll make sure that she gets the message as well. So thank you all for joining in. As always, I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. You have a great evening.